G'day and welcome to Club Prairie Fire, the home of tequila, Tabasco and the Duckworth-Lewis system. Now, we have a cracking show in store, but before we get into it, I think we should take a moment to reflect. Yes, the DLS, courtesy of the low-pressure systems over the Americas, we've seen it a lot this World Cup, but sadly, Frank Duckworth will see it no more. Frank, the man with the original idea for the DLS system, passed away on the 21st of June, aged 84, although after some adjustments, they're saying it's 68, which is great. In an almost ironic turn of events, it was a day when a match between Australia and Bangladesh used the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern system to eventually give Australia victory. As a devout English fan, I know one of Frank's last thoughts must have been, this system I made was not designed to help those Aussie bastards get a win. So sorry for that, Frank. Now, he was a statistician, a cricket lover, a revolutionary, and a man who has confused the hell out of cricket lovers the world over. So Frank will be sorely missed.
My dog misses him already.
Gilly's dog paying homage there to the great man. Right, let's move on to the to the World Cup. The Super 8s are no more. What a round of stirring, superb, scintillating T20 bowl them down, knock them out of the park cricket it was. Well done to all 8 sides. However, we are now down to just 4. 2 mouth-watering semi-finals away to South Africa. Will take on first-time semi-finalists Afghanistan, and India will take on the defending champs England. Now, those South Africans, let's call them the experts at dropping World Cups, will be looking for the first time to make a World Cup final, but in their way as a country who make their first appearance in that stage of a World Cup, a team that, let's face it, the whole of Australia is now going for. That's right, Afghanistan. And India, well, it's been a long time since they placed an ICC trophy in their very bare trophy cabinet. They will pray for rain and pray for a few golf buggy mishaps for the defending champs, the English golf team. And as for Australia, well, their tournament is over. What? Was it indeed a poor decision at a coin toss by Mitch Marsh that sent them packing? Or was it in fact that India and Afghanistan had better players who beat them convincingly, and in fact the Aussies didn't deserve to be there? I, like most of the Australian press, are pretty sure it was just the coin toss. Just definitely the coin toss. Now, let's bring in your cricketing experts to peer into the Super Duper 4 crystal balls. English skipper Michael Vaughan, Adam Gilchrist, our Aussie wiki, and the airport terminal's favourite resident, Ollie Silverton. Welcome, gents. Welcome, everybody. Gilly, you've just touched down, have you?
I have. Yeah, g'day, one and all. Landed at about 5:30 a.m. this morning. So what are we, Tuesday? Are we Tuesday? No, we're Wednesday, aren't we? We're Wednesday.
I don't know.
I left somewhere on a Tuesday and ended up here on a Wednesday morning. But I'm back home in Perth after a fantastic week in Mumbai with the Crick Buzz crew and our colleague here, Vaughnie. It was a good time. And we were basically engulfing ourselves in Cricket World Cup and Euro Championships, which whenever I feel down and out about how badly Australia have gone in the cricket, I think about how England are going. But mind you, England have progressed to the next round in the football as well. So we ain't got much to clutch onto as Aussies at the minute.
No.
You didn't clutch on so many balls in the air either.
No, we didn't. We did not.
I have noticed that the Australian cricket team have been at my fielding academy down in Coogee, which is obviously paying a huge amount of rewards with success in the field. I mean, I've never seen an Australian fielding team as bad. I mean, they're all high class, but I've no idea what rum they've been drinking. But I think they've drunk a lot of it. By the sound of it, they've had a good trip by the islands that they've been visiting. And full credit to Afghanistan. But I will say later on in the show, now I'm going to break some news. I've been out and about in Mumbai, speaking to people, just finding out information, just keeping my ear close to the ground of what actually goes on in particular World Cups and tournaments. And I've got some breaking news later on about that World Cup final, that World Cup victory just a few months ago here in India. My cabbie. You've got me thinking about caddies pro with the England golf team, but my cabbie driver this morning. Get ready later in the show.
Oi.
That is a tease. That is how you make internet TV. That's fantastic. Hey, you've also just touched down. You've returned from the motherland and you've returned to Sydney. How are you, mate?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, the airport residence, basically an airport terminal resident, as you say. But luckily, I'm staying in touch with all of it because of NordVPN. Thank you again to them. Quick reminder, they're there again this week. They've been helping me stay abreast of all the cricket, which has just been so good. They loved Varney's Love Island shout out, and actually they mentioned with you, Gilly, as well. You two watching the Euros. I've seen in the green room, watching England progress beautifully. But they wanted to know what you're using NordVPN for because you didn't get a look in last week. So what are you firing up?
Content you can't typically get in Australia, I guess.
Yeah. I'm a big Kabaddi guy.
Yes, now we're talking. Massive leagues over here, the Kabaddi leagues.
Yeah.
You know, Kabaddi's in the Olympics.
And so it should be.
With breakdancing.
Just check that. I was just out for dinner the other night and we were talking Kabaddi, and they did say it's in the Olympics. And I said, well, clearly it'll be India or Pakistan who will be favourites. And my Indian friend said, no, I think England have got a good team. And Japan.
Well,
Japan apparently have got a good Kabaddi team.
For those uneducated on the sport of Kabaddi, just what my simple description is typically, it's like a game of rugby union without the ball.
Right.
Is that a fair description?
Yeah. I'd say rugby league.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no scrums, you say. No scrums, is there?
No, not really. It's like bull rush, but you're holding your mate's hand is a good way to describe it.
You've just got to get low, haven't you?
And then
I think you've got to tap the knees, and is that right?
Yeah. And I think they're meant to say Kabaddi, and they've got to hold their breath.
Is it Olympic sport, Is that right?
Human chain. Well, it was called an odd demonstration sport in the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, but India are bidding to bring it back in 2036 with yoga and Kho-Kho as the other sports.
Yoga as an Olympic sport.
They're putting in for 2036.
How do you win with a downward dog?
So flexible. I get most downward dogs in a minute. I'm not sure.
The longest downward dog. There's different
That's good.
Sorry, you go, Varney.
That's interesting. I'm delighted that Kabaddi's back. It will be nearly, was that about 100 years, Ollie, that it was last in the Olympics?
Will be 20.
Well, the World Cup is coming up in Cambodia, which is why I've got my NordVPN in August. I'll be
of yoga or Kabaddi?
Kabaddi, sorry.
Kabaddi,
Me and a few schoolmates had planned to get across for a trip. We like to go to the most Kabaddi World Cups, but we won't get there this year, unfortunately.
In a team, how many's in a Kabaddi team? I know that the Kabaddi league out here in India on telly, it doesn't quite get the eyeballs of the IPL, but they do talk about it being one of the most popular sports for television here in India.
So the squad's 12, 7 on the field at any time.
Now, is it a field or is it a court?
It's called a field.
But it isn't a field, is it? What is it?
No, it's in that hard. And you sort of make a human daisy chain with your arms to make you longer to touch the opposition.
That's a nice way of describing it.
And human daisy chain. Thanks, Sarah. Well, I'm glad to hear you're watching it and taking advantage of that deal. Just a reminder, nordvpn.com/CPF. Links in the description.
Just on the NordVPN, Gilly, we watching Carlton, weren't we, from the G?
Yeah.
Against Geelong on NordVPN, yeah.
Totally. That's what I was going to jump in and say. The Mighty Blues with a 65, nearly 70-point drubbing of their opponent on that particular occasion, being the Cats. But
and the brothers were scrapping, weren't they? What the brothers called? They were having a bit of a ding dong.
The Coning brothers, yeah, absolutely. Tom and Sam, they were throwing balls at each other and trying to be a backyard sort of, I'm going top bunk, you're going bottom bunk, throw you off, and a bit of that. Bit of Kabaddi played out I suppose a bit of Kabaddi's been played out in most sort of households, backyards, bedrooms there's a few brothers around. But Ollie, just going back to your wedding journey, did I see some social media of the bride and groom, and it looked like whether it was their children or the nieces and nephews on the roof of a building with everyone looking up? I mean, this is Vincent Chase of entourage sort of stuff when he went to the frat house party on the particular night he launched a movie. That you guys proper know how to party.
Yeah, I'm glad you said Vincent Chase, not sort of Michael Jackson with the baby on the roof. But yeah,
No, they were old enough to walk.
yeah, exactly right. No, that was the family home. My sister and brother-in-law decided to be, I can venture, the first dance from the roof. The band was meant to go up there, but we didn't have any insurance. So then my niece is too young, and she was asleep. But their nieces on the other side were loving, the age of 5, and they just loved all the cameras and tension, and went through the window and did it as well with the 150 in the garden clapping. Yeah,
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that.
Brilliant. I
Yeah.
can't understand why an insurance company wouldn't take that on.
No.
Amount of French horn falling off, it would have been messy as anything.
Ollie, just on the wedding season, is that the end of the wedding season for you? Because you seem to do one every week. Is it end of season now?
No, I go back in 4 weeks to be groomsman. Not best man for Tom. Yeah. That's my last one in Bordeaux.
You are keeping the airline.
Very nice. And who's
Oh,
in
nice.
charge of it? Is that down to the family? Is it or will you be purchasing?
I'll be purchasing. Yeah.
Are you more at these? Are you more Adam Sandler from The Wedding Singer? Are you sort of that guy, or are you the disgruntled brother of the bride who sort of calls out the old man for playing favourites? I don't know if you're familiar with that show.
Like Steve Buscemi in The Wedding Singer.
That's him.
I much prefer. I was MC on the weekend. Much prefer that to the best man role. Just zingers throwing into everyone introing. So I don't know if there's a famous wedding MC film, or if not, Gap in the Market. That's where I think I'd
Right.
Let's get it done.
Are you available to hire for people wanting MCs at weddings? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm a celebrant in about 42 countries from the Church of Life online. Genuinely reverend. Yeah.
And just so we can obviously get your CV out there for all our 10 or 15 listeners, can you speak other languages, or is it just English you speak?
It's a language you love.
Yeah,
weddings.
But a fair bit of French and all right Spanish.
So
Very good.
All right, let's try that now. If you can do if you can be French, we're at a French wedding Bordeaux. Can you just do the bride and groom entrance, please? Announcement.
Yeah. You may now kiss the bride.
Messieurs et mesdames, je voudrais, I would like, oh God, I'm panicking now. Je voudrais sit down. Oh, panicking on the spot. I'm actually all right normally. Yeah.
Is your Spanish any better, or?
Yeah.
No, genuinely, I used to be nearly fluent at French. That was a real panic on the moment. Not weddings. I never did the wedding scene. Yeah.
Right.
Well, the good news is, you control the edit of this, so you can well and truly lop that bit out.
No, we did hit number 1 in the French charts, didn't we, as well?
We did. Yeah, we're big in France. Now, gents, there is a World Cup of, let me just look, cricket going on. Sorry, I just had to look down at the screen there. T20 World Cup. And we got to touch on it. I'm sorry. I know you guys want to talk Spanish and French wedding vows all day, but we do need to touch on it. As I said in my intro, we have reached the semi-finals. 2 epic clashes. Lots to chat about. South Africa, Afghanistan in Trinidad. That takes place tomorrow, our time. I'm hoping this is out before then. And then obviously India, England the next day. That's in Guyana. 2 massive clashes. Funny what a difference a week makes since we did this last time, Gilly, when we were, shit canning England, saying Australia's going to win this thing. If we had to bring people up to speed, and this is actually where I wanted to start, Gilly. Why is Australia not in those semi-finals?
Why are they not there? Just before I answer that, I'm peaking early with my toast because it's appropriate to bring it up at this point in time, and it's appropriate that I do it. For those that are listening and can't get the visual, it's the little shot glasses. It's actually a little quite curvaceous sort of female body shot glass of a lass wearing an Italian bikini, and the reason for that is because. It's a double-edged one when I pick my shot glasses. I want to toast Gulbadin on his outstanding effort. Now, what's Italy got to do with that? I think of 2006 when Australia were knocked out of the Football World Cup by a diving Italian. Was it Grosso who took the dive, got the penalty, Australia are out. So the combination of all that coming together is just absolutely outstanding. What wonderful entertainment. That was one of the funniest things you will ever see. This is not sour grapes toast. This is respect. I mean, I paid a bit of money for my eldest boy to go to a good school, then to acting school. He's an aspiring actor. He wants to get to the big screen. And I can promise you, he'll never get close to that sort of improvisation, that off the cuff, just what directors are pining for in Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, wherever you are. So cheers to him. He's a champion. I wish him all the best in the semi.
To bring people up to speed,
we needed to quickly pull his hamstring, Gil. I thought, you got to be careful. He might be out of the semi-final. It was a bad tear.
It was a shocking tear to be chaired off. Sorry, Prof, you want to bring listeners?
I just wanted to say I just thought people that hadn't seen it, I know it's made huge global cricket news, but just to set the scene. So obviously, Afghanistan playing against Bangladesh. Australia needs Bangladesh to win.
Yep.
And according to the Duckworth-Lewis system, may he rest in peace.
Yep.
Afghanistan were ahead by 2 runs, and in came the low pressure system. I mean, wonderful time to hold a World Cup in the middle of the wet season. Started coming in. And so Jonathan Trott, and I'm going to quote a dear friend of mine here, he found the spirit of cricket and it is alive and kicking. That was Michael Vaughan on X who said that. He came in and he gave the symbol, the international symbol for slow it down, which was slow it down. Yeah. And then at that point, the hamstring was pulled at first slip. Now,
it can happen.
Let me ask
the high-level sport. It can happen.
Did it ever happen to you, Vaughnie?
Yeah, hamstring a lot of the times. Generally, I was moving at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good. I love what I'm part of the international broadcast was where it sort of happened, and I think Dooley was on, Simon Dool, and he's go and then they replay it and there's the single, the signal, they show Trotty doing the hands to slow it down, and then they replay him getting shot by the third gunman on the grassy knoll, and the laughter in that commentary box from not the commentators but the back staff, everyone not on here, that was absolutely brilliant.
Do you know the only thing that was missing from that game? In that last over that the Bangladesh lost 2 wickets, they went ahead by 1 run.
Yes.
All that was missed, and they actually carried on. The rain started coming in. All that game was missing was one of those, Linton just going down at the non-strikers, then him doing exactly the same as what Gulbadin had just done 10 minutes ago. That's all that game was missing. It had everything.
Yeah. And Benny Hill running across the outfield going, did.
Did you see that wasn't the only signal? There's an amazing clip's been sent out where a lot of people are praising Dwayne Bravo, who's involved, and there was all the video from the bus of champion. But just before that, he great song. He was pointing, and they set a fake field that was going to be a short ball. I don't know if you saw this, and they all came and whispered, and he did the hand signal for bouncer, and the batsman so much so thought it was that, and then trapped him front for LB, and that video's gone viral as well. But double good acting.
Yeah, different league. I liked it. I mean, I have found it quite amusing that the Spirit of Cricket Police, which there was plenty of if you go back to Lord's last year. I don't know if it's because it's Australia, but there doesn't seem to be that many in the Spirit of Cricket Police in operation over the last day or so. They seem to have gone to sleep.
I wanted to ask you 3 guys, right? Obviously, Australia out of this World Cup, one of the favourites are leading in. There's been some amazing reaction online. A lot of people globally saying basically sucked in Australia. The fact that we didn't go and play the bilaterals against Afghanistan, and then they were the reason we didn't go, why we didn't go through. People everywhere rejoicing the fact that Australia's not in. Here's my question to the 3 of you. Currently, internationally, is Australia the most hated cricket team in the world?
I think
Who would like
they
to
are.
start?
I think
Yeah.
they are. I'll be totally honest with you. I think they're up there, but I think England might be a close second. I just I don't think the cricketing will want Australia or England to win things.
Yeah.
Don't know what it's about. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just two unpopular nations.
Yeah, it's the ultimate sign of respect, really.
Yeah.
It's too many cabinets that are full of trophies.
You think it's that, or you don't think it's because we carry on a bit, like both countries?
Well, no. I think to be going back to your original question, Prof, about why Australia aren't there.
Yes.
Outplayed, outsmarted by Afghanistan. Tactics were wrong, and then completely outplayed by India at the big moments. They were sort of in the hunt for a while, but again, I question tactics. Not sure about. I think sometimes in this day and age, I might be way off the mark, but it seems like some of the planning is done so far out. Some of the sort of the thoughts. I mean, think back to the Ashes when, we don't want to harp on it, but why did not Stuart Broad bowl the first ball to David Warner at the Gabba on the most recent Ashes in Australia? Ashton Agar, we're told, was always going to play that game in St Vincent because it's a wicket that needed more than 8 overs of spin. But maybe that sort of planning, you can forget to look on the day who your opponent is and what might work better for you. So it's an easy call from afar, but I think just some of the tactics were probably can rightfully be questioned. They'll be defended probably by the team within and have been, but that. And I've been on that side of the fence too. So you're more in the knowledge when you're in the tent rather than sitting where we are. But no, that they just played some decent cricket up to those points, but they missed a trick against Afghanistan, and then India got the better of them. And India are a better all-round team at the moment. I think they're the favourites as far as I'm concerned at the minute.
Well, it's their tournament, isn't it?
Yeah.
Literally, it's their tournament. They get to play whenever they want. They get to know exactly where their semi-finals going to be. They play every single game in the morning, so people can watch them at night obviously in India on the television. I get that. I get that money's a big play in the world of cricket, and I get that in bilateral series. But you would think that when you get to a World Cup, the ICC should be a little bit fairer to everybody, and it shouldn't just be that India, just because they bring a few quid in. As I said, bilaterals, I completely understand it. I completely get it. But when you get to a World Cup, there cannot be any kind of sympathy or any kind of sway towards one team in the tournament. And this tournament is purely set up for India. Simple as that.
And Vorney, sorry, Ollie, Vorney, you're still in India. I've been there. There's a lot of Indian passionate cricket supporters who are very, very aware of that as well, aren't they? And in agreement, sort of going, it has compromised it to an extent. And look, let's say it again. India have been the best team, most consistent team throughout. Maybe South Africa might claim that they have beat two without losing a game, but India, I think, should win it, and good on them if they do. But you're right. I think there's a lot of Indian supporters who aren't naive and blind to that situation.
Yeah, and also the Indian supporters that I speak to over here, they understand that India have got probably on paper the best team, so they don't need to do anything. They can win a night match. They don't need to know that they're playing in Guyana in a semi-final, which, by the way, it rains 24 days out of 30 in June. So they've already had 6 days of dryness, so it's going to rain.
And there's no reserve day for that game.
No, and why? And if you actually look I've been reading today about the rules and regs of tournaments, and actually it states about India. It states that there are comments about the Indian team in the rules and regulations of the ICC, which, well, I get it in that bar, but not in a World Cup. Surely it's got to be the same for everyone. It's absolutely. The other thing I want to bring up about the World Cup, and it goes back to the last World Cup as well. I think this bowling first tactic is absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more I watch these games and the more I see these quality teams, and particularly batting lineups, they can absolutely strike a ball, and you get a pitch that looks pretty good. But surely the best way to win a game is to get as many as you possibly can first, and then you use all your bowling options. So many games. I mean, obviously England chasing down 100 odd against the USA. That's a good chase. We can expect that. There's not many of the big games that are being won by the team chasing. And that goes back to the 50 over World Cup as well. I know the final the Aussies did, but if you go back across the whole tournament and across the whole of this tournament, the big games are generally won by the team that are batting first. So you go back to Australia's tactics, Gil, against Afghanistan, St. Vincent. No team has won chasing in St. Vincent. Guess what Australia do? They decide to chase.
Yeah, and they made the same decision against India in different conditions, but a day game where we were seeing that trend in the morning matches in the Caribbean, where it was dryish and getting a little bit more frustrating to bat later on.
Yeah, where England had just lost to South Africa. Guess what they were doing?
Yeah,
Chasing on the same ground. I mean, I do look at a lot of I think data and information in cricket is absolutely required. You know, I think a lot of this information, the matchups and all the talk of all these kind of plays that you get through data, I get, but there's sometimes that you watch and see, and when is the data going to be swayed the other way? You know, because the data that I see is win and loss. And a lot of losses come from the team that are chasing at the minute. So I wonder when the computer system suddenly triggers and says to the captain, actual fact, it's quite a good thing to bat first.
Now, gents, I do apologise. I do need to make my way out of this podcast. But as I go, I just wanted...
Is that as in
the end,
just
boss?
now or for good? Is this you resigning?
Guys, I can't listen to this bashing India anymore. I'm pro everything they do. I've got to quit. I'm sorry. No, I'm going to go do some other work. But as I depart, all right, and because obviously you guys, you've seen the mess of the rundown that it is. You're going to go through the two semifinals, pick who's going to win, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to toss up who I think wins from here, and I think they win it in a canter. Can I explain?
Yeah.
I think England wins the whole thing very easily.
Oh, the curse. Here comes the curse.
And I know you think I'm joking, but South Africa cannot get past a semi-final. All the pressure on them. Afghanistan, never been here before. Lots of pressure on them from their country. They're very nervous. They don't know what it's like. And then India, too long between drinks. They've just lost the 50 over one. Whereas England, they've got the trophy cabinet full. They're playing golf. They're drinking rum. Surely they just hit cruise control from here and just swan it in. As much as it kills me to say it. Surely.
But we talked about, England and Australia potentially being the two teams that everyone wants to see lose. I've got a sneaky feeling that I think it's almost turned round, that most of the world now would want to see England win this semi-final. I think there's a little bit of the cricketing gods might be coming down and hopefully helping England in that semi-final. We'll have to wait and see.
Minus a billion.
Place.
Yeah.
I will hand it over to you, gents. As I said, apologies.
Where are you going, by the way?
Go Blues, Prof. Go Blues.
I've got to do a show in the morning on the State of Origin. So first thing, tomorrow morning, and the game is about to start. So
right, you're watching television rather than do the show.
He's taken the Australia loss really badly.
Hey, let me put it in your terms. Sheffield Wednesday only plays 3 games a year from now on.
And they got pumped in the first one, so they need to fight back.
They need to fight back, and you only get to watch them 3 times a year, Vaughnie.
Right.
This is the second time, okay?
Prof, outstanding. You go do that. Brilliant intro. We don't care about what your prediction about the cricket is. Who wins? Who wins State of Origin 2, which has a touch of cricket involved, being played at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Rugby league on enemy territory.
Let me give you a quick little stat. New South Wales are Melbourne specialists. They've been 5 games there. Yeah. New South Wales have won 4 out of 5. And the one that they lost was only by 1 point. So we are
Queensland
going to win tonight.
Queensland are home then, are they?
If you know what I'm like with predictions, Queensland by 20. All right. I'll see you later. I'll just put my camera down like this. Bye.
Beautiful.
Oh, you should have put pants on.
Yeah, there we go. But I had one for you, Vaughnie. You were in the know, and maybe your cabbie mentioned it earlier. Do you think India are in so much control that they're doing the weather as well. You touched on the rain, and we've seen it in Dubai with the cloud seeding when it gets rain. Do you think they absolutely know what they're doing in Guyana? Could it be that level of involvement? Have you heard on the ground?
Yeah. I mean, to have a tournament in the Caribbean when it's monsoon season is one thing, but we've kind of been lucky with a lot of the rain. It's not really affected too many games, barring that England-Scotland game in Barbados. But to go to Guyana, I was there for a test match 1 year. We didn't bowl a ball. We had a whole week in Guyana. We did not bowl a ball. We didn't play.
Nice.
And the back in Guyana. I mean, it's under sea level, isn't it, Guyana?
Below sea level.
Yeah, below sea level. So, look, I think it's one of those parts of the world when it says it's going to rain, it will rain. And I've looked at the forecast. I mean, I'll have a look now. When the game's on, it's on Thursday, isn't it?
It's Jesus.
Yeah.
See, this is a thing. You don't know whether it's a Thursday or Wednesday.
Yeah,
Thursday
It's
morning.
the morning. I think it's Thursday morning Caribbean time, isn't it?
Mm.
And what's that?
The
Lots of cloud.
morning
You're holding up the weather report there.
90% of rain, is it? Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got 100% rain. I guess they could be very, very, very lucky and get a couple of hours. I mean, I did read that they've got
5 overs aside.
They've got 250 minutes that they can add on. How they've got to 250 minutes rather than just 244 hours is beyond me. But they can add. And Gilly, in the Crickbuzz studio where we start, this is the 8:00 night game here.
Yeah.
Now I don't think I'll say now, I don't think I'm getting out of that studio till 3 or 4 a.m.
No. And you'll have been there at that exact time the day prior doing the previous semi-final.
No. The semi-final, that one's. So I'm doing the morning semi, which is the evening game Wednesday night from Trinidad, which is 6 a.m. Mumbai time. So I'll be in the
Thursday
studio
morning.
at 5:30. Then I'll do a few
You're in
hours.
there all day, Vonnie.
I'll have a few hours by the pool, and then I'll go and do the session for England, India at night. Be a belter.
What I will say, one thing in defence of India is all this is lining up. They play the second of the semis. There's no reserve days, so if it gets washed out, they go straight to the final by virtue of finishing top of their Super 8s group. So you've got it. No one was certain that they were going to do that, so they've done that. You've got to acknowledge that they've played well enough to finish top of the group in the Super 8 stage. So that means, so in the other group, South Africa are top.
Yeah.
But if their game gets washed out against Afghanistan, they have to come back the next day and have another crack. But if that gets washed out, they're through. So the teams that finish top get some sort of benefit. Maybe a bit easier benefit for the Indians, but well done. They did finish top.
Yeah. But I just don't understand why did they ever complicate life, the ICC? Why did they say, why does the final have to be on Saturday? Why couldn't the final have been on Sunday and each semi-final has a day?
Mate, this is
the day to play the game. I just don't get it. I mean,
Vorney, this has been going on in Cricket World Cups forever. We remember we're playing World Cups in the Caribbean or South Africa, 50 over World Cups. The tournaments would go for 6-7 weeks. It seemed like an eternity. And you have a week between games, and then you might have 4 days, and then you get to the most important games in the tournament, and you play 2 semis and a final in the space of 3 days. It's just ridiculous. I mean, Rugby World Cups, you have a week between. Obviously, physically, it's a bit of a different impact sport, but you don't compromise it. It's a week between games. And that's it is crazy. But it just doesn't stack up. One semi has a reserve day, one doesn't. That just does not. That smells.
But how can it be right? And look, it's not the Indian team's decision. This is the ICC that make the decision. So how can it be right that you play a semi-final on the Thursday in Guyana with this 250 minutes added? So that game's going to start, I think, 10:30 in the morning. Let's say it starts at 3 or 4 in the afternoon and finish at 6 at night, 7 at night. You never know what time it's going to finish. So then on the Friday, they then got to get from Guyana to Barbados for the World Cup final. You're in a World Cup final, and you've got to get yourself up and ready to play at 10:30 Saturday morning in Barbados.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
it's
the
like-
travel, like we know from our good friend at Crickbuzz, Harsha Bogle, the travel around the Caribbean hasn't exactly been efficient on this occasion. He's been commentating in a bathrobe. Bags haven't turned up. They've been delayed. Everything. It's it's a good point.
I mean,
Yeah.
I really, if England get to the final, I have massive concerns that they won't have time to play golf on Friday before the final on Saturday.
Oh, mate,
I think
they won't turn up.
I think it's a disgrace.
They might forfeit a World Cup final to make sure they get on Royal Westmoreland.
Well, I do see they've been playing Apes Hill. They've been playing Sandy Lane. They've been having a good time of it. Very good time of it. I know the skipper's 4-4. He's not been beaten yet. That's a good sign.
Good. Well done then. Before we get on to the predictions, we're going to have a look at our pre-tournament predictions because this ties in quite nicely what we're talking about here. A little update.
I'm fighting back here. I'm fighting right back.
A bit of cut. So we'll go through the bowlers first. My bowler hasn't bowled a ball yet, Chahal, but I think he's coming good. I don't think he's bowled a ball.
What did you go for?
Yubi Chahal. It turns out they've got a few spinners. Tough after a good IPL. That was tough. But then we've got, Yadav has now got 7 wickets into 26th position for Gilly. And then we've got Bumrah into 8th position with 11 wickets for Prof. And Varney still leading Zampa, who is now out, though, of the tournament with 13 wickets in 5th place.
Bumrah's going to get it.
Overall, pretty good. We will then do the batsman. And in 65th place is Michael Vaughan's Virat Kohli with 66 runs.
He's still
not being selfish. Still not being selfish. Yeah, there he is. And then in 23rd place, Mitch Marsh for Prof with 125. And then a certain David Warner in 10th spot for you, Gilly, 178. Now, I think this is why Prof has left, because there was a funny tweet saying he played his last ever game on Stuart Broad's birthday, still a rabbit. But a pretty remarkable career from Dave Warner. We'll get a word on that afterwards, because obviously Joss Buttler, I'm in 7th place, 191, leading for me, which goes to the overall predictions of Oz to beat New Zealand for Gilly. That's gone. West Indies to beat Australia for Prof. That's gone. England to beat Australia for Varney, that's gone. Ollie Silverton, India to beat South Africa in the final. Top 2 seeds. If rain comes in nicely.
Wow.
Yeah, so forget Chahal. There's a chance. There's a chance of something. Oh, Varney's coming in.
No, just on predictions. And obviously you mentioned a bit about Virat. And obviously our last guest, Mohammed Hafiz, who was very, very strong on Virat being selfish, particularly in the 90s. Now, when the game was going on the other day, and obviously Rohit was playing great and he was launching the Aussies to all parts in St. Lucia, I received a message from Mo, and it read, "Hope you're watching Rohit in 10, selfless at 92.
Wow, didn't he get some traction on social media? I mean, the amount of times our clips were also ripped off. The fact of the Pakistani players sleeping in the dressing room. Yeah. Someone then just replied with, I think it's Marnus Labuschagne, who was asleep last year and woke up when he was next in, was the reply.
I did respond to Mo Hafiz, and I said, but Nort from Virat was selfless as well, because he was going for it. And he went, well, surely in this game, but not in which we were talking about. And then he went, 50s and 100s, doesn't matter. Selfless captain, Rohit. Big fan of Rohit is Mohammed Hafiz.
Wow.
Big fan of it. Yeah, and then he put India versus England with a thumbs up. That was his last message.
There we go. Should be that ties in nicely. Let's get predictions. We'll start in the reverse order. India v England as Mohammed Hafiz. I think he'll be backing England. I've got a sneaky suspicion. But guys, predictions. If we get a game out of it might be 5 overs aside.
England are going to really upset this apple cart.
Okay, and Gilly's sticking with India, and then semi-final 1. Look, it should be a cracker. South Africa, Afghanistan.
That's in Trinidad, isn't it? At the Brian Lara.
Yeah. All I say about South Africa is, they've won every game. Well, even I get nervous watching them.
Yeah.
Mate, you made the point on CricBuzz. Even the players' wives and girlfriends get nervous.
They're all biting the nails. I mean, I they've won every game, but they have, and they've got a sniff. They've got a great chance. I mean, you've got to fancy South Africa. You have to. You have to fancy South Africa. I mean, again, I noticed Afghanistan actually against Bangladesh when everyone expected them to win. Maybe the kind of underdog tag suits Afghanistan, and they'll be underdogs against South Africa. But against Bangladesh, you could sense how much it means to Afghanistan. And you imagine what a World Cup semi-final is going to do and mean to them. So I'll be very interested to see how both teams kind of cope with the pressure. But I just think South Africa have too much quality.
Yeah,
you'd think so. The batting for Afghanistan, the top two have been extraordinary. 3 century partnerships in the tournament, 4 times 50. But that's their engine room. If you can get through that.
Do you think Gulbadin will be fit? I mean, there's clearly got to be a big doubt about him. He came back and bowled, didn't he? So he should be fine. He should be fine after the string popping.
As long as he doesn't stand still for too long, that seems to be the problem.
That's the issue.
Point. Yeah, good point, Ollie. I mean, he was at
keep moving.
Yeah,
keep moving.
He was at slip for too long. Just got a bit static.
Genuine question, because it's come up a fair bit on social media. As you said, South Africa have sort of chanced their luck a fair few times. Even that England game, England got down to needing 30 of 20 balls, and the guys were set. There's been a lot of praise for Aiden Markram's captaincy. Have you been very impressed in terms of putting himself onto bowl at different times, mixing it up? Has there been something that stood out to you? Because he's certainly getting a lot of accolades online.
I liked him against the West Indies with his bowling options. I thought he did something that South Africa don't generally do. He really thought out the box and surprised the West Indies with a lot of bowling change. Used a lot of the spin. I can't praise him against England. I thought South Africa were all over the place with their bowling. Yeah. I'm not too sure. The low full toss, a surprise delivery is quite a good ball down the back end if it's a surprise delivery. But I don't think I've ever seen 10 full tosses out of 12 being that great in T20 cricket. They were lucky that Liam Livingstone Clough won to square leg. That was another full top. Maybe that was their tactic, but I couldn't say that South Africa were brilliant against England with the ball. I thought they had a bit of a panic on.
Yeah, and Aiden Markram's quote after was that the bowlers held their nerve and delivered beautifully under pressure. So maybe tactically, I think they got it wrong. I mean, they bowled 16 overs of really good stuff. Pace off, into the pitch, nagging, spin. Their spin did the job. The quicks taking pace off, and then they didn't only not use they went full, but they didn't even use the pitch. They went full toss, but they have won every game, and as everyone knows, in tournament play, doesn't matter how you get them. So they're now in a what they would think the whole world will think is a very winnable, situation. 2003 World Cup, we had a semi-final against Sri Lanka in Port Elizabeth. We thought, that's a stiff draw because that's a wicket that suited them. It was slow, spun, Murali, all their players, all their batters, Sangha and Jayasuriya and co, and Mahela were going to belt it. And we were eyeing off the other semi-final, which was India versus, who do you reckon India played in the semi-final of the 2003 World Cup? Kenya, exactly. Kenya. Yes. Kenya got through by virtue of a few no-shows to, protesting against Zimbabwe, the trip to Zimbabwe and so on. But we were sitting there thinking, how unlucky are we? We've got like a serious competitor in Sri Lanka and they've got Kenya. Wish we had that semi, but we managed to get through and get the result done. But you've got to be, I'm not sure whether India were up for it or as much in the final by virtue of having a bit of an easier ride through their semi at that time. So that'll be an interesting watch whether South Africa can make sure that they maintain their determination and be up for this and don't expect to win against one of the lesser nations perceived of the cricketing landscape.
I'll be interested because South Africa do like chasing. They like to bowl first and chase down. I mean, against Afghanistan, I would not be doing that. Because even if Afghanistan get 130, I still think with that bowling attack and all the tricks they have, it'd be quite a nervy chase. But if South Africa bat first and get anything beyond 150, I just don't think Afghanistan have the batters to chase that kind of number. So I think batting first for South Africa will hold a big key.
Okay, so both go to South Africa there. You mentioned, let's be honest, it was a pretty rank full toss from Rabada to get Livingston out there after a shocking event. Rabada's going viral again for what's been called the best cover drive ever by a number 9 batsman when he got the job done there. But Livingston's come out and said sometimes it's better to start averagely slowly, slip under the radar, than nick it at the end as a tournament, he can't say. Something you sort of agree with, Vorney? You're nodding in agreement that it's better to not cruise the whole way through.
And he's Josh Butler's golf partner, and that, he's 4 from 4, so he's having a good tour. Okay. Absolutely. I mean, you look at the World Cup that England won in Australia. They I don't think they ever peaked. They played probably one great game of cricket, and guess what it was and who it was against? It was against India in the semi-final. Guess who they're playing this time? India in the semi. So tournament play is just about getting through, and then when it really comes down, I will say, for England to beat India, they're going to have to play a pure game. They can't play a 70% game. Everyone's going to have to play great. They're going to have a couple of their better players, i.e. Josh Butler playing like he did against the United States, and that bowling attack's going to have to be at its best. In fielding, I think fielding's actually been highlighted so much in this World Cup that Australia generally are the best fielding team in the world, and you don't ever say that fielding wins your World Cups, but primarily Aussies have won so many World Cups because they are the best fielding team in the world. And you look at this World Cup, their standards for whatever reason have just slipped, and they're on the Qantas back home. So I do think fielding is going to play a huge part in the next 3 games of cricket, and it might be the best fielding team over the course of the next few days might end up winning the World Cup.
Yeah, it might. Fielding might not win you the World Cup, but it can go a long way to losing it for you if you're not up to scratch. That's an interesting comment from Liam. So I think back the 3 World Cups that we won in a row. Sorry, pause.
Yeah. Can you edit that?
I don't know if you were clapping for that or New South Wales. New South Wales just scored and the neighbourhood all just cheered. So I didn't know if it was for you or the World Cups.
we had quite the diverse situation. In '99, we were scrappy. We couldn't lose another game for about 7 games in a row, and managed to get there and play our best game of cricket in the final, which was nice. Next time round, we were a bit scrappy early, but we kept finding, a bit like South Africa, we kept finding ways to win when we often probably sit back at the end of the result and go, Jesus, how'd we jag that? But then you did build momentum. And then the third one, we were pretty a dominant force all the way through, like India have been. So I don't know if there's any right recipe. We all want to win every game of cricket and play the perfect game. It never transpires like that. South Africa, India, who's the real favourite? England sort of stumbling 40 minutes away from getting washed out of the tournament. And one of them, and there is no reason to write Afghanistan off because of the conditions. We've seen the ball turn. We've seen some crazy things happen with pitches, with time zones, with playing morning games, and that's what the final's going to be. So I think they're all in contention. Still have India as my favourite, but they're all in contention.
I think people will obviously rewind to that first preview episode when I said the 4 semi-finalists and got told off for calling Afghanistan minnows would be the semi-finalists. England, Australia, South Africa, and England. And so there you go. But 80-1, looking value now. Beautiful. Unless there's much else, we've got there's 50 minutes up there. We've got a quiz on the week in cricket.
You guys just remember, let's have a listen to the cabbie.
Yes.
Yeah, let's play.
That's right. What have you got? You going to do that before or after the quiz?
Oh, well, I was going to end the show with it. Really keep people, maybe he's the toast.
I'm going to hang on. I'm going to hang on here to hear what it bloody is. I don't know what's coming.
Okay, we'll do the quiz then. You can toast. I'm guessing there might be a toast for a certain Australian opener from your end, and then Vorney can give it to a cabbie. But let's get into the week, and there's a bit of a Afghanistani theme because they are the story of the World Cup so far. Everyone loves an underdog. So we'll start with, it's not all Afghanistani. Number 1 is, and it's all Super 8s, obviously, since we last spoke. The Super 8 stage saw the top 5 most expensive bowling figures of the competition so far. All came in the last week, but who led the way with the worst figures and what were they? Closest wins. Most runs, but incredible that all 5 were in the last week.
So you're not taking into account the wickets they took. It's purely economy rate of the 4 overs that they delivered. If it was 4, you'd hope it's 4. If it's the leading,
most runs,
Was it a 4 over burst, Ollie? That was the worst figures.
It was 4 overs, yeah.
Wasn't the United States against England because they didn't bowl 4?
Yeah, they didn't get the full 4 out, did they?
You can just name the player if you want, then we can. There needs to be figures.
Is it? It's not Stoinis. Marcus Stoinis against India.
Varney goes with Stoinis.
Maybe he got 2 for 58 or something.
Did he the other day?
He might have got 2. I think he went for 58. Yeah.
I think I was eating dinner in the Crick Buzz studio at that point. I wasn't really watching. I'd lost interest. Great interest. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. No, you're right. I was going to go USA. Mitchell Stark got a bit of tap the other day from Rohit, didn't he? So I don't know. I'll throw Starkey's name in there.
No, he went for, he was 2 for 45. I think one of those overs went for 29,
Yeah.
but 2 for 56, Stoinis.
Wow. Did he really?
Shamsi was next. He was 1 for 50 against the US.
Yes. The goose got him, didn't he? And Harmeet Singh.
The goose got him. And then, Mushfiqur Rahman, Pat Cummins, both 0 for 48, and Pandya, 0 for 47. Yeah. So there you go. They're the top 5. Okay, number 2. Afghanistan have numbers 1 and 3 in the top wicket taker list. But who is number 2 and with how many?
Ooh, I know that, I reckon. I'm going to jump in early. No, I'm going to let Varney go first because I reckon I know it.
You saw his face contemplating.
Well, is it Zampa?
With how many?
13.
Okay. I'm going to go Arshdeep Singh.
With how many? You get the mark.
Oh, what? We need to know the amount.
We'll give you the mark. Correct answer.
15.
Yep.
15, 16?
Yeah. Zampa's in 5th. Arshdeep Singh 15. That's correct. So 1-1 on the scoreline there. Okay, Pat Cummins has joined in a very impressive list, taking 2 T20 international hat-tricks. Can you name another player who has done that?
What, done 2?
2 in internationals.
In T20? Bumrah.
Tim Southey.
Very good. Tim Southey is
Asif Malinga.
Oh, yeah. Can you get the other 2?
Dan Vittori?
No.
The other 2 are Abbas or someone like that.
Jordan?
Very good. Abbas is correct, but under an interesting flag. And Pavlovic, I think, was Slovakian. Pavlovic, Slovenia was something I saw. Yeah. And obviously Chris Jordan's joined that list, but just with 1 for now. Okay, so we've got 2-1 Gilly. Question number 4. Afghanistan also have numbers 1 and 3 in the top run scorer list, unbelievably. Yep. Who is number 2 and how many? Closest gets it. You'll probably both know who.
Number 2 now.
Number 2, I mean, it's not 2. So 2. It's not the Goose, is it?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Whether
Andre
the Goose got up
Goose.
there.
What number are we going, Goose? How many?
223.
Andreas Goose. Goose.
And how many are we going for there, Gilly? 223 from Varney.
228.
The Goose has 219.
Oh.
But is in 5th place.
Right.
It's Travis Head, 255.
Yeah.
By the way, Travis is now the number 1 T20 batter in the world.
And Stoinis is the number one all-rounder, even though 2 for 56.
Despite his good 2 wickets. And Poran was 4th, 228.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's clipped up there. So still 2-1 Gilly. Last question, but we have got a tiebreaker if we need it, is Rashid Khan became the fastest player to 150 wickets in T20. How many games did it take him?
103.
110.
Closest wins 92. He's got a tiebreaker. I think it was Tim South he overtook was about 120, 113.
Right.
So he smashed him through 92. The tiebreaker is how many boundaries have there been so far in the tournament? 4s and 6s.
Is that 4s and 6s?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's go. 894.
1,140.
Gilly gets it. There's been 899 4s alone and then 491 6s. Gilly, congratulations.
Well done, Adam.
Big win. Student of the game.
Right, so just before we do the toast, we'll say another big thank you to NordVPN. And with the Blues going so well, Gilly will be using this with the new plan. You get 4 extra months on top, so they'll be there for finals. And it's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. And remember that clubprairiefire.com.au to join the Discord where you can find everything from merch and some extra questions you've been sending in. But I think that is time to get us into the semi-finals. Next time we speak will be after we have a winner next week. So, I think first, Gilly, you'll lead us in toast, then Vorney can tee up the outro from our favourite cab driver.
Yeah, indeed. And I think big rumours that there's a big name coming on after the final. And he's from a nation that is still in the running. And could well be talking about his nation winning the T20 World Cup. So we'll
Phil Tufnell for the third time. The 3-2.
Oh, come on, yeah.
So, but it is a quick toast to the outgoing David Warner. A fine contributor to Australian cricket. He did bring up recently in an interview about his. The feeling that he has been the one that has carried the can with the whole sandpaper stuff, and he's the one that has been exposed most about it, and years after, he's still the one that the blame's laid with, and others maybe didn't. And a lot of people have said that's rubbish that he would bring that. Why would he bring it up in a World Cup? I think actually, I take is that he was doing an interview with a journo, a reflective piece, and of course, that's been very much part of his journey, and he just reflected on it. He's an emotional guy that speaks, his emotions pretty clearly. So, as far as when it came up in the World Cup, I can understand he was just reflecting on his journey as it truly comes to an end as an international cricketer. And to be brutally honest, I think cutting to the chase, there were others involved, and he has had to bear the brunt of it, and a lot were shielded through the lack of integrity of the investigation from Cricket Australia at the time. So I'm not saying others needed to jump out and go, "Hi, over here, it was me." But the interrogation or the investigation, for probably a better term, at the time only spoke to 3 people. So I understand David's frustrations there. I'm not saying he's in the clear or whatever. But I can sympathise with his sentiment around what he said. But that's by the by. He has contributed. You cannot deny the contribution he's made to the game of cricket. A true champion player. There's no doubt about that. So congratulations, David. Well done, and all the best with whatever comes your way in the future.
You're on the Fox family.
That's indeed right. So Michael.
Vorney, tee us up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was on my way to a nice place that I go to in Mumbai this morning, got in a cab, never used this cab driver before. I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but he was a very, very lovely guy. He looked humble, honest, and he's got this to say about the World Cup. Right, here we go. We're going to preview the World Cup semi-final, England-India. Who's going to win?
India.
Why?
Because India is top on now.
Yeah, but they haven't won a trophy for about 10 years.
Actually, you know what happened last time, the World Cup, ODI.
Yeah, Australia were too good.
Australia.
But
It was not really good. That was a really fixed match.
Fixed.
That's all fixing, man. Yeah. You know
Interesting.
that.
No chance. Australia were too good. I think England are going to be. I think England are going to be too
See,
strong.
if
England
it's
too
good,
strong.
yeah, Afghanistan, why they bid for them? If it's too good, Australia.
Well, Afghanistan were very good, but I think England are going to be too strong.
England is okay. I believe England is a good team.
Yeah.
But not Australia. Australia is Mambo Jumbo.
There you go.
Whoa, Jesus Christ.
There you go, Gil.
Look, I tell you what, I thought that November 19, was it, that final was set up very, very generously for a certain team to win. I thought that all through the tournament, it was the coronation of a lot of things coming together. I didn't know that it was actually exactly that, and it was Australia, the coronation. I didn't know it was that well set up. I
Yeah.
thought it was about the team in blue and the Modi Stadium and the parade of the Prime
Yeah.
Minister and all that, but
Mm.
whoa, wow.
Well, all I say in the world of cabbies, you know the cabbie drivers in London, you trust them, magnificent. And
Yeah.
the cabbie drivers in Mumbai are equally the same. Got to trust them. They know
Okay.
what they're talking about. All.
Yeah, wow. I mean, will that overtake Virinder Sehwag's comments about India not playing anywhere else, which I think's ticked over 5 million views on our Instagram alone? It might just.
Are you, but so you're telling me that that's got an asterisk next to it, that World Cup win?
Yeah, as yet. I'm afraid so. Now the cabbie said that it has to.
Jesus.
Can you try before you leave next week? We need a name for the cab driver. You know, there'll be some questions.
Yeah, it'll be
I'll tell
outside.
you what.
I mean, I've got his. In actual fact, I've got his card.
Is this the special guest whose country's still in the tournament? Is this the reveal?
I've got his card. There you go, Kishore.
Kishore. Well, Vorney, what I would like by the time we get back on air next week, if we're still on air, can you just ask Kishore?
Yeah.
Did he get a bet? Did he get a tip off? Did he get on?
Yeah. Well, I'll ask him. By the fact that he's still driving his cabbie car here in
Probably didn't.
Mumbai, I'd suggest he didn't.
No, that's clever because you don't want to show everyone you've got the world because they ask you for money. So
That's it. That's
yeah.
exactly it.
yeah, you don't tell people. Well, Kishore was sure about it. Love it. Well, I look forward to hearing from him on that. Remember, at Club Prairie Fire, if you've got any other rumours or tips, please send them in on all social media at Club Prairie Fire. I want to know about them.
Just again on tips and rumours and little comment. I did see that Inzi Manul Haq.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He did come out and say that he believes that the Indian team are doing something with the ball.
Yep.
There's another little bit of conspiracy that are India doing something with the ball? I don't know.
Yeah. No, and yeah. I mean, sometimes you just got to own it, like the Aussies. We just fucked up. And of course, all these accusations are alleged.
Alleged, of course.
That's our waiver for our legal department to look after.
It's a very small legal department here. I do wonder if Pakistan cricket do think we haven't been in the press this week. Who can say something now just to hit the front page? But well done, Inzi. That will give them the Chinzi team next week in their game real big inspiration because what an idol he is. What an idol. That was Club Prairie Fire. We're gonna leave now, but we're going to do just 5 minutes on Discord as we always do. So remember to join so you can listen to that. But that is everything. Ciao and adios from a very happy Prof, who with New South Wales winning 18-0 after 20 minutes. I think.
There you go.
Gilly and Vorney. Au revoir.
He called it. That means good signs for England in the World Cup.
It does. Okay. And a bit of French for you. Au revoir.
Well, remarkably, you've watched the show. Thank you. That's all I can say. And if you really like it, press something, I don't know, something on the screen, press it, or subscribe. That'd be really handy. It'd be really nice. Thank you.